Welcome to the first episode of Things My Mother Taught Me, the podcast. I'm giving you honest, pure, and bold conversations about death and trauma. Today, however, will just be an introduction and some background on myself and my mother and why I created this podcast. So again, my name is Barbara Jordan. I am 25 years old. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. I am originally from Macon, Georgia. My mother died when I was 7 years old, and she passed away from a rare form of dementia. It's called Pixies. Very, very rare. I told myself when I was younger that I wanted to be a doctor so that I could find a cure for it. And then I went to college and failed out of biology. So that didn't quite work out. But my dad has raised me since I've been 7 years old. And let me tell you that is a story within itself. And we will definitely get to that at some point. And I think I will want to have some type of guest on who I can kind of share that experience with and bounce off of them on that. But yeah, so I'm 7 years old. My mom dies from this rare disease, and I always say, like, there are just three moments surrounding and after her death that I will never forget. The first is the abuse she suffered before she died. The second is my last time actually seeing her before she died. And the third is the moment I find out. And for this episode, I am going to go into all three of those topics. And I think that's just going to give you everything you need to know about my background in regards to just my mom. I started this podcast because I wanted to discuss and just engage with people about death and about trauma. I don't think it's something that is openly talked about enough in American culture. If you look at other cultures and the way that they celebrate death and the way that they approach death, we do it much differently. There's sort of a taboo. A taboo to it, a taboo to dealing with it, a taboo to mourning, a taboo to just being open about it. And I think that we should be more open about it. I think that we should talk about it. I think that we should view it differently. Those are my thoughts. So yeah, I just want this to be a space where we can openly talk about death and how it affects us, how it affects our kids, if you have any, how it affects our other family members, how it just changes dynamics, and how we can kind of work through death and find healing and find happiness after that joy is, taken from us in a sense. So for this first episode, I'm just going over those three moments in my life that I feel were very impactful to the trauma that I held with me pretty much up until this point. And it's not gone away, but I'm able to talk about it and deal with it much better than I ever have been in the past. And I just want to be open about it because maybe my story will resonate with you and maybe it'll help you. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get right into it. If you've ever been around someone with dementia, it's difficult. Her disease degenerated her brain pretty quickly. as a child, I didn't know much of what was going on. Sometimes it felt like I just had another friend with me. I vividly remember us playing hide and go seek. And I don't know, it was just odd to me because when my dad came home, it's like he had to round all his kids up. Myself, my brother, and my mom. But that just gives you an insight on how almost childish she had become fairly quickly. So my mom did not stay with us. She did not stay with us once her disease progressed. She ended up moving in with my grandmother, her mother. One time I was there and I actually saw my grandmother hit my mom. I even went back and told my dad, like, yeah, I saw grandma hit mom. So that right there in itself was just traumatic in ways I didn't even know. And as a child, I didn't know how to process it. I even think I laughed because I thought she was getting a whooping or something. Like, oh my goodness, your mom is giving you a whooping. You know, that's crazy. That is one of the first moments I knew that something, something was odd, something was off, something was wrong. It was not going to get any better from that moment. And I can honestly say to you, since that moment, I have had issues connecting with my mom's side of the family because I have harbored that pain and that resentment for a very long time. It's been very difficult. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Things My Mother Taught Me, the podcast. Please go follow us on our Instagram at Things My Mother Taught Me _pod, or give me a follow on my personal Instagram at _Barbie Joe _. Until next time, y'all have a good day, night, week, whatever it is. I'm out.